Have you ever thought to yourself, will Medvedev ever reach the top? Is he ever going to put all the pieces together and become a consistent beast? If you had any doubts, you were very, very wrong. Daniil is one of the few players that have been taking over the tennis world lately. But how? I'm going to explain to you just how good he is and why he's one of the most underrated players out there. As of this recording, he is currently ranked number 4 in the world, with an all-time high world number 1 for 16 weeks total. He's made a name for himself by defeating some of the biggest names in tennis like Rafael Nadal and Novak Djokovic. However, Medvedev's career got off to a slow start. He struggled to break into the top ranks and lost in the first round of many tournaments. Medvedev's main draw ATP debut occurred at the 2015 Kremlin Cup. He played doubles with a fellow countryman Aslan Karatsev, where they managed to beat the third-seeded Buri and Istomin. Ultimately, they made it to the quarterfinals. Due to his immense dedication, Daniil kept working hard, and in 2018, he made a breakthrough. He won his first ATP title in Sydney, beating the likes of Fabio Fognini and Benoit Paire along the way. In the grand final, he beat Alex de Minaur, which was, interestingly enough, the youngest Sydney final since 1989. This was just the beginning of his meteoric rise. But what is it that makes him so great out on the court? Is it his technique, his mindset, or something else? When taking into consideration how successful the season of 2022 was for Daniil, the expectations were high for the following season. He'd won multiple titles as well as beaten some of the biggest names in the tennis world. The season of 2023 for Medvedev started off at the Adelaide International, where he was able to reach the semi-finals before losing to Novak Djokovic in straight sets.
It will be a 130.
Medvedev certainly put up a great fight, making Novak work for the win, so much that he even had to use a medical timeout to take some anti-inflammatories for his left leg. Novak went on to beat Korda in the final, which then earned him his 91st ATP Tour level title. In February, Medvedev made a comeback into the top 10 by winning the ABN AMRO Open in Rotterdam. He was superb during the entire tournament, which can be justified by the stats, showing that he only dropped one set. He beat an up-and-coming star Jannik Sinner in the final, which history repeated itself later on in the year. Just a week later, Daniil played in the Qatar Open, where he beat a tennis legend Andy Murray in the final in straight sets.
A sublime finish.
The next tournament he played was in Dubai, where he was victorious over another fellow countryman, Andrei Rublev. Did I mention that Daniil beat Novak, who was on a 20-match winning streak? Yes, he actually did that. Medvedev's title-winning streak came to an end at the Master 1000 in Indian Wells, when Carlos Alcaraz, current world number 1, beat him in the final match in straight sets. It was a spectacular showing from both players. But Alcaraz was simply way too good. Medvedev went on to state that no one can hit the ball as hard as Alcaraz while having so much topspin on it. As of this recording, the latest feat by Daniil is something so spectacular that no other player in the Open era had managed to accomplish. By beating the Italian Jannik Sinner and winning the Miami Open, Medvedev won his 19th title in the 19th different city, a feat worthy only of a champion, isn't it? Medvedev is currently ranked number 4 in the world after these incredible achievements, but what is the secret behind his playing style that is allowing him to knock off the top players on the tour? Let's start off with his technique. Medvedev's style of play is quite different from other players on the tour. Some might even call it unorthodox. He has a very specific style of serving, where he often uses a flat serve instead of the more common topspin serve. This makes it difficult for his opponents to anticipate the trajectory of the ball, giving him an advantage in his service games. His serve is known to be one of the toughest serves on the ATP Tour currently, as Novak Djokovic stated. There is no denying that Medvedev's strongest shot is his very well-disguised serve. This ability to hide his intention upon serving is often described as his most potent weapon. Despite his serve being called robotic or awkward by some, it is praised by most tennis fans due to its effectiveness. Medvedev is known to experiment with changing up the pace of his second serve, resembling a second first serve, meaning that he would hit 2 first serves to unsettle his opponents. The unpredictability comes from his ability to disguise the direction of his serve when tossing the ball. Sometimes he'd intentionally toss the ball further right than usual on his wide serve just to trick the opponent into the wrong positioning on return. Most tennis players were taught that the key to a consistent serve is a uniform ball toss, but I guess the same rules don't apply to Medvedev. In addition to his unique serve, his versatile forehand and his super aggressive flat backhand are definitely an advantage in most matches, don't you think? Why don't we find out? His ground strokes are also quite unique. He has a very flat yet extremely versatile forehand, which means that the ball comes off his racket with a lot of pace and power. This allows him to hit winners from anywhere on the court.
Game.
Putting his opponents under constant pressure. What's so unique about his forehand is how large his backswing is. So much so that at the peak of the backswing, his hand is at head level or sometimes even above. This results in Daniil hitting a much flatter ball than most pros do, due to this quite unorthodox technique. Another thing that makes his play style so special is that he tends to hit the ball on the rise, which enables him to create a downward trajectory on his shots. In addition to this, his hard and flat shots force his opponents, so to say, lift the ball that usually bounces beneath net level. This in turn means that the shots Medvedev's opponents return to him are quite commonly neutral if the opponent isn't able to adapt to his game. All of these features combined usually means that Daniil is in the driver's seat in most of his matches. Medvedev's backhand serves two functions. It's a perfect blend of a brick wall and a dangerous weapon, easily repelling and attacking. He appears to be shoveling the shot at times. It's extremely flat and executed with immense accuracy, but it's not flary or nice to watch, you must be thinking. Yes, that's mostly true, but it is also quite commonly simply unstoppable.
See,
Medvedev's backhand begins with a basic sweeping backswing and frequently finishes with his arms and legs flailing everywhere. The stroke appears to be unteachable. The ball that's taking off swiftly off the strings, on the other hand, is perfectly struck. The sheer dominance of his backhand can be proven by the statistics. The number of backhand winners in a lot of matches that Medvedev plays is very commonly close to double the amount his opponent has. The same goes with backhand unforced errors. If not double the amount, at least a couple fewer errors are made by Daniil. In order to fully appreciate his backhand, try not focusing on the beauty of it, but rather focus on the pinpoint accuracy, the depth, and just the sheer power of it as well as what he achieves with it. When speaking of adaptation, Medvedev is the master of it. It's something that cannot be taught or practiced. It's his incredible ability to read his opponent's game and adjust his own game accordingly. Medvedev is incredible at anticipating his opponent's shots and positioning himself in the right place on the court. He's also very good at recognizing patterns in his opponent's game and using that to his advantage. That would mean that he's always one step ahead of his opponents and can anticipate their next move. This ability to read his opponent's game is what makes Medvedev so dangerous on the court. He's able to use his opponent's strengths against them and find weaknesses in their game that he can exploit. Although not usually known as a player who likes to play on the net too much, Medvedev's net game has improved drastically when compared to before. At the top of the pro scene in tennis, it's extremely hard to say who has an advantage over whom, as most players, when on their A game, can beat all other players. Such is the case with Daniil Medvedev. His champion mindset is definitely one of the reasons for his success. His ability to make the best out of a bad situation has helped him claw his way out of some extremely tough and close matches. And of course, his incredible defensive abilities on the court. The way he moves and covers the court gained him a nickname among his colleagues, Octopus. Another bonus is his likable personality, which commonly overwhelms the crowd, making him the crowd's favorite.
He breaks again, and now it's Medvedev's turn to try and get the crowd involved.
Something that surely must boost your morale during an exhausting match, am I right? Also, just how could you not be motivated when having such support from your family? His incredible serve, tricky forehand, and a cannon of a backhand are the tools that Medvedev uses to his advantage during each match in combination with all these traits. Medvedev stated that when he plays, he doesn't think too much.
Basically, when I play, I don't think about it because, well, I'm just trying to put the ball.
But do you think he's hiding something? Some sort of special ingredient to his game? Guess we'll never know. Daniil Medvedev is definitely one of the best players on the ATP Tour currently, but is largely underrated due to his unorthodox playstyle. At 27 years of age, he's still quite young and has a lot more to achieve in tennis. Despite a not-so-common technique, the predispositions of a great tennis champion are most certainly there, and I think that Medvedev will not stop here. He's only just getting started. But there is an even younger ATP star who's been making waves lately, and his name is Carlos. But just how is he becoming one of the best players on the tour? Well, watch this video above to find out.